How to Quit Porn Addiction Before It's Too Late, the Ultimate Guide. Are you addicted to porn? Statistics show that you probably are, so you don't need to lie. In this article, you're going to learn if you are and how to quit porn so you can start living a normal life again. In fact, 79% of men between the ages of 18 and 30 view pornography regularly every month. Overall, 64% of men in the US of all ages watch porn on a regular basis, so you're not alone, dude. Out of those men watching, you're most likely wondering whether you watch too much, right? Well, the answer may be yes. This is what you're going to find out by reading everything below and taking the quiz. If you are addicted to porn, then I'm going to help you put a stop to it, because it could eventually ruin your sex drive, relationship, future relationships, and even have an effect on your career if it gets too bad. If you're not addicted, then great. You're one of the few that can watch porn recreationally without it having any impact on your life. But it's still good to know the signs of whether you are becoming addicted or not, just so you can quit it before it's too late. Okay, so let's get started. What is porn addiction and why does it affect you? With the rise of internet pornography and tube sites, you can watch porn more easily now than ever before. The ability to check out porn relies solely on your ability to be connected to the internet. Occasionally viewing pornography doesn't mean you're addicted though, so it's important to identify the difference between casually viewing the graphic visual content and watching it to the point of developing a reliance on porn. Porn addiction occurs when you view the content, regardless of if you get off with it or not, takes place without your control. Basically, you'll have this urge to view the material and there is nothing you can do to really keep yourself from watching it. 51% of male and 32% of female students first viewed porn before their teenage years, 12 and younger. If you suffer from porn addiction and you're not able to control yourself regarding when you watch it, you're not alone. While everyone's a bit different, the addiction will affect you both mentally and physically. It's also important to note that porn addiction is different from sex addiction. The primary cause behind porn addiction also differs from sex addiction. You may turn to pornography when struggling with depression, low self-esteem, anxiety, or other psychological issues in order to escape from the discomforts related to these problems and really just everyday life. But why in the world would suffering from depression or anxiety cause you to turn to porn? While viewing pornography, the content causes the brain to release neurotransmitter dopamine, which allows the brain to feel pleasure. You may also experience the release of adrenaline, oxytocin, endorphins, and serotonin. Now, if you only occasionally views pornography, you'll experience the same release of dopamine biochemicals. The situation becomes an addiction when you abuses the release of these biochemicals in order to avoid feeling depressed, or other psychological issues. In this way, addiction to pornography is similar to that of any other addiction. Is porn addiction a real thing? Porn addiction is a very real thing. It's not a made-up term or catchphrase someone made up in order to excuse their behavior as a disorder. As the body releases chemicals within the brain, you'll become addicted to the feeling of this chemical release. If you're addicted, in a drive to experience the chemical release more frequently, you'll return to the cause of the release, which is viewing pornography. This quickly turns into the need to view porn more and more often. The definition of addiction states it's the compulsive need for and use of a habit-forming substance. While not a substance in the physical, tangible sense, porn addiction is habit-forming with a compulsive need to view the content in order to receive the chemical release in the brain. Of course, you need to know that just viewing pornographic material does not mean you are addicted. We've all had our moments. Even viewing porn multiple times a week does not mean anyone is addicted to porn. Instead, there are very specific signs you have developed an addiction. Not all signs need to be present, but chances are if you have developed a reliance on pornography, you'll show a good number of these signs. 1. Unable to be intimate/romantic. One of the most common signs of porn addiction is the inability to develop and sustain any kind of intimate, romantic relationship. Now, we all have our dry spells in the dating world. However, This inability stems from either no desire to form such a connection or not showing any desire to create a lasting relationship. 2. A feeling of disconnection and isolation. At the same time, despite not wanting to form such a bond, you may feel isolated, depressed and even shameful. You may become disconnected with close family and friends while even drifting away from a current romantic partner both physically and emotionally. 3. Abnormal consumption of porn. In more direct signs of pornography addiction, you will spend hours, if not full days consuming porn, often at the detriment of finishing work, studying for school and spending time with friends. The watching of porn for hours, if not days at a time, is not just a continual jerk-off session. In fact, little of the time will be devoted to self-pleasure. That's because an orgasm is the end of the viewing session, which marks a return to reality, with the biochemicals no longer released in the brain. As the entire purpose of spending so much time with porn is to escape the feeling of everyday life, you probably won't even attempt to get off with the porn until further into the viewing. 4. Unable to hold down a normal job. Due to the sheer volume of time spent watching porn, you'll begin to struggle with your job, see grades fall and be reprimanded for openly viewing porn within the confines of a work or educational environment. This in turn can bring about legal issues connected to pornographic use. 5. Leads to other forms of addiction. With prolonged porn addiction, you may begin to combine pornographic use with other addict-forming items, such as drugs and alcohol. You can see how easy it is to form a new addiction, right? Habits, whether good or bad, are incredibly easy to continue if you don't seek help or break the cycle yourself. 6. Sexual problems such as impotence. This combination opens up the risk of personal injury, and they may develop sexual problems such as ED, the inability to reach orgasm, and delayed ejaculation. Just because you're a porn addict, it doesn't automatically mean you're going to experience sexual issues in bed. But studies suggest that a recent sharp rise in sexual health problems amongst young men are a direct result of too much porn. The side effects and dangers of porn addiction. The dangers of porn addiction come in both mental and physical form. Understanding the side effects and dangers of porn addiction can help both those who are suffering from addiction realize the road they are traveling down is not a release from depression. It can also illustrate to loved ones what someone is suffering from when they are addicted to porn, so be careful to look out for the signs above if that's the case. Mental side effects. As you develop an addiction to pornography, you'll suffer a decline in any kind of personal relationship, whether it's with family members, friends, or even current romantic interests. Additionally, while many addicts turn to porn as an escape from depression and anxiety, it can actually lead to an increase in both of these mental conditions. This is because you'll remove yourself from meaningful relationships, spend more time inside, and won't exercise as much, each of which are important factors in battling depression and anxiety in a healthy way. The increased feeling of depression and anxiety stems from your continual promise to change, the feeling of self-loathing for sexual acts performed during porn viewing, and even the sheer powerless feeling over your own actions. So while the viewing of pornography provides a short release from the several mental conditions, it ultimately digs you deeper into exactly what you're trying to escape. Physical side effects. When combined with a sex addiction, you and anyone else who suffers from porn addiction is far more likely to contract a venereal disease. In fact, according to the Departmental Management of the USDA, 45% of women and 38% of men who have a form of sex or porn addiction suffer from some sort of venereal disease. For women, additional porn addiction stats indicate 70% will become pregnant with at least one unexpected pregnancy. The 3 stages of porn addiction. Porn addiction recovery has several different stages. However you reached the point of porn addiction, when you've decided to quit porn, you will enter the first stage. Thankfully, knowing how to stop porn addiction is the first step towards improving yourself. Like any other addiction, there are always pitfalls along the way, but as you make your way through these 3 stages, you'll increase your ability to quit porn. And, as always, Make sure to ask for porn addiction help if you need it, as it is always easier to battle addiction when you have friends and loved ones around. Stage 1. The battle is about to begin. If you have decided to move forward with your quest to quit porn, you'll enter into the first stage. In this stage you may feel anger or even hatred towards yourself due to what pornography has done to you. If the addiction manifested itself into a problem with work, grades and other relationships, it's this time you'll feel regret and spiteful. You need to move past this stage, as it may feel hopefully, and, as you used pornography as a coping mechanism previously, you may fall right back into the same trap. The beginning stage often requires the most initial structure. This is because after going a few days without viewing porn, it becomes difficult to stay away, as the body calls for the crutch it has become accustomed to using. Using filters on internet devices and avoiding anything that may lead to sexual desire is necessary. It may also help to schedule tasks throughout the day to prevent yourself from extended downtime. Stage 2, the hardest part. While battling through stage 1 you may slip up from time to time, but as long as you don't let it turn into a habit and dust yourself off from the small lapse, you'll be able to continue to improve. With stage 2, as you find ways to prevent yourself from viewing porn, you need to identify what causes you to go backwards and watch pornography. This is where you can really look at your day, what you do, activities and other tasks you take part in, and look for what might send you down the rabbit hole of pornography. Stage 2 is more than just looking at what might cause you to look at porn. You also need to begin looking at what causes you to feel the urges as well. Write those down. Whereas seeing the cover of a Victoria's Secret catalog may send you towards viewing porn, this process looks at why you are triggered in the first place. Sometimes this can be difficult to do or even painful. It is possible you view porn because you are especially depressed and the depression originated with a certain event or activity. Understanding what triggers you and why you're triggered can help with correcting the urge in the first place. Eventually, during this phase, you'll need to begin practicing reactions to triggers and avoiding the use of pornography when those triggers are activated. For example, if the sight of a certain actress causes you to run for your computer to fire up the nude search, initially going without viewing the actress is important. However, at some point in your life you'll likely see her picture again. You need to challenge your mind and body to go without the visual and mental stimulation of pornography. Your brain has become accustomed to receiving the biochemical release when viewing the actress. By re-educating your mind and body that you will not receive the biochemical release, the trigger will start to go away. Practicing in this way may require help from a close friend, advisor or another partner who can keep you honest and focused on the goals of quitting porn and avoiding the porn addiction side effects. Stage 3, great work. Keep going. When you hit stage 3, it means you're doing well. Your old triggers are no longer hindering you and you can go extended periods of time without viewing pornography. Stage 3 is the stage you're in for the rest of your life. Battling off the desire to view porn is easier, but you will still have, from time to time, temptation. You may feel like you deserve a reward for making it so long. Or depression from another life event may hit, which can push you closer towards returning to pornography. It's important to stay vigilant and to be mindful of what is going on. While it is easier now to avoid the pitfalls of porn addiction, if you are not careful you can begin to slide back down this slippery slope. So while you show incredible progress, you need to be mindful of what is going on. Porn is far more widespread than you might believe. In fact, according to Jeff Logue, Ph.D., SAGU, 2015, 40 million American adults regularly visit porn sites. 10% of all adults admit to having some sort of internet sexual addiction, and this is just those who admit it. The number is likely far higher when including those who do not admit to addiction. In order to help battle porn addiction and make it through the 3 steps, it's recommended to seek out porn addiction therapy. Individual therapy is an excellent way to seek out help. It is recommended to set up an appointment with a certified mental health professional. There are some who focus specifically on sexual health, so when looking for a therapist, this is what you should consider. Other kinds of individual therapy sessions can include cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which focuses specifically on your emotions, behavior, and it works to change the negative attributes in your life to positive thoughts. This can help battle depression as well. Psychodynamic therapy is an unconscious form of therapy where digging through your unconscious memories may help identify the cause of your addiction. Group therapy is conducted with multiple individuals who suffer from similar forms of addiction. The purpose of this kind of therapy is to help provide positive reinforcements from other members of the group. You might want to consider couples or marriage counseling if you are in a relationship where porn addiction is causing significant problems. Porn addiction relapse: what to do when you fall off the wagon. Porn addiction relapse is not if you turn to view pornography one time. While it is never recommended to turn to porn when battling addiction, a relapse occurs when you fall back into the same pattern of viewing. Perhaps it is a few days' worth, or you use it to battle depression and revert back to what you had been doing before therapy. Relapses can happen in any form of coming clean from addiction. What is important is to learn from what caused the relapse, brush yourself off and begin again. You can quit porn when you put your mind and focus to it. The process just takes time. Quick tips for quitting porn: do these every day. They work. Use a website blocker, cut yourself off at the source and don't give yourself a chance to get caught up in the same old porn loop. Download a website blocker and restrict your ability to visit certain sites. You could even go one step further and ask your internet provider to block on porn sites at the ISP level. Replace bad habits. You've heard that humans are creatures of habit, right? Well, that's because we are really damn good at doing the same thing or task on a regular basis. So swap out the porn habits with exercise, reading, meetup groups and side projects to keep your mind busy. Be more social. Socializing with your friends is a great way to keep your mind busy and your head in the right place. The more you spend away from being isolated with porn, the better. Don't get emotionally involved. A lot of guys have a favorite porn star. This is a bad idea. It means that you fantasize about them, invest emotionally in them and place them on a pedestal. This will only hinder your ability to connect with real women physically and mentally because they can't meet your expectations. Identify your triggers. What things do you see, read or listen to that make you think about porn? Once you realize what triggers you to think about jerking off, stop doing that. There are likely several triggers right now that make you think of beating one out. Meditate. Yes, mediating works and you should be mediating instead of jerking it. Learning how to be more mindful will help you to control urges and make you feel more powerful. Take it day by day. Use a simple wall calendar to keep track of how many days you've lasted without porn. Don't forget to add a cheat day for masturbation also. You're not a monk. Most common questions about porn addiction. Why is porn addiction a bad thing? Porn addiction is bad because it prevents you from developing meaningful relationships. It can also cause problems with your work and schooling. Once it begins affecting your life, you know there's a problem. What's the best way to control my porn addiction? When first battling porn addiction, the best way to control yourself is to stay busy. Viewing porn is more likely to occur when you have too much free time. Whether it is heading to the gym, walking the dog or doing anything, you need to stay busy. Eventually, your drive to fulfill your addiction will drop off. To help safeguard yourself, set up passwords and filters to prevent you from viewing the porn. It might help to have a friend set up the password so you can't just turn the filters off. Why is porn so addictive? Porn is addictive because of the biochemicals the brain releases while viewing the content. Porn addiction actually shares similar traits with chemical addiction because it triggers the release of these feel-good chemicals. Your body then becomes accustomed to these chemicals released into the brain, which results in you returning to the cause of the chemical release, which is watching porn. I've relapsed more than once. Can I stop being addicted? Everyone falls down and makes mistakes. It is important to not give up. You should also look at the mistakes and what caused you to relapse. When you do this, you can identify what triggers your relapse and go about it differently the next time. How to quit porn. Conclusion: what you need to do now. porn, like anything, can be addictive. Now you can either let it take a hold of your life or you can come to your senses and take control. I'd strongly suggest you follow the steps above and even start today with the no-fap challenge, just so you're taking action. The important thing is that you do something immediately. The more you do, the less likely will be to fall into old habits of watching your favorite porn star sucking an oversized veiny penis. Have you recently quit porn or are you still in recovery? Let me know in the comments below.